The argument is that your ex-husband settled reasonably with you some 15 years ago, and what you did with that money was up to you. The suggestion is that you invested it unwisely. Why is he... The newspapers make out, why is he responsible for how you spend your money or not?
Well, he shouldn't really be responsible for how I spend my money. He also shouldn't be allowed to dictate how I spend my money. But I have been very clear about the properties that I bought, how much I bought them for, how much I sold them for, and I clearly itemised those in the press on Sunday.
So people said, oh, you made bad business decisions, but reading about the property deals you did, one you sold for what you bought it for, because that was the market, and the other two you made a profit on both, which you put into the next house.
That's right.
That didn't seem to me bad business.
No, no.
So
we should also say, Ruth, I think, that the initial settlement was £23,000 in a lump sum, and then you get about 13 grand... £230,000 in a lump sum and about 13 grand a year in monthly monthly payments. I mean, it's hardly the sort of stuff that's going to make you a millionaire, is it?
No, and also the 230,000 was my home.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lump sum, it wasn't a cash payout. It was my home.
So how did this end up back in court, Maria? Because Eamon said 15 years ago, the divorce, and you had that settlement. You left with your son, with the custody of your son, and he lived with you. He still lives with you, and he's 21. So how did this end up back in court between you and your ex-husband?
My ex-husband...
That settlement was made.
Yeah, my ex-husband took it back to court.
For what reason?
To apply to reduce or eliminate the whole maintenance.
OK. So people would, reading that story or seeing you now, would go, well, OK, because now your son is 21, so he's probably not going to be dependent for much longer. Is that not reasonable that your ex-husband can then say, well, we don't need to support that 21-year-old anymore, therefore you don't need as much money? Does that seem fair when I say it like that? What's the reality of it?
The reality is he is still a dependent. He's in full-time education, he's at university, and in fact, not only am I paying for his living expenses still, as before, exactly the same as before, but I'm also paying for the university expenses, and any parent will know when their children go to university there's more expense.
So why is your ex-husband not sharing that cost?
I wish I knew.
OK.
Vanessa, this is a really strange one. The ex-husband gets in touch and he says, look, I think I've paid enough and for long enough and I want to reduce this. Then he backs out of that claim. Maria had counterclaimed. Her claim ends up in court. He withdraws his, and the whole ruling goes against him. I bet you he's ruined the day he even thought of this
Well, he will, but I can understand why he thought he should take that case to court. And may I say, I think Maria has been unfairly pilloried in the press. I also think the press have wrongly reported what really happened. This isn't a case where Maria has just thrown away all the assets she got in a settlement and then come back and say, oh, I can't look after myself. This is a case where she was given, which is very rare now, maintenance for life. That was the orders that we used to do some time ago. Now we are starting to do orders where we have what's called term maintenance for set periods of time or until the other person retires, because it equally can apply for a woman paying a man. So we have them coming to an end now because there's been quite a sea change of attitude towards these kind of things. Women are working longer, so the courts are saying, get off your backside and go out to work. But in this case, Maria couldn't deal with the shortfall between what she could earn and what her needs are, her genuine needs.
But how long is her ex-husband responsible?
For life now, because the circumstances, as I understand it, of her case are that she isn't able to meet that shortfall. And you have to understand the alternative is that the state would have to pay if she couldn't manage. And I think the point is that the political view is, why should all of us have to pay if the husband has a duty and was ordered to pay maintenance for life?
But there might be people watching, Maria, who say, but why should your husband be responsible for the rest of your life? So I understand, they might understand now, well, your son is still a dependent because he's at university, he's not earning, but hopefully that won't be forever. Could you go out and work?
I do work. I worked before we got married, I worked during the marriage, and I still work. I've always worked. So I've never stopped working.
Between what you earn and your maintenance payment, that's enough for you to live, or you were struggling on that amount?
What I pay for my son is greater than the amount of maintenance that I get. So I have to work anyway to pay the difference.
Do you know, could I just say something?